Alright, now we can actually start. Welcome, everybody, to Sailwind. If you were one of the first two people who saw the first two episodes of this, you may be wondering why we're starting at episode 1 again. And the answer to that is incredibly simple. It's because I finally figured out how audio works. So, you know, maybe it'll sound better. Who knows? We've got some lo-fi playing in the background, we've got Sailwind, and we're going to go ahead, there's been a new update, so we're going to go ahead and start a new save completely. So go over here to new game. This is the save file that we are getting rid of because it was out of audio, so we'll go ahead and click that one. So when you first start the game, you've got 3 different regions to choose from. You've got the Al region, which is easy. The reason why it's easy is because the economy is the strongest economy in the game. Boat controls are easy because you just have the one mast and the one sail. The weather is easy just because it's relatively just calm weather. Navigation though is considered hard because a lot of the islands are flat, so you can't see them from too far away. The second option is the medium option, and this is the Emerald Archipelago. Boat controls are medium, mostly because it's got 2 masts instead of just the one. But they're still single sails. Weather is hard because it storms here all the time, and navigation is considered easy because you can see pretty much every island from anywhere else on the map, like in that area. And then Fort Astron is the hard option, and that's because it's a square rigged boat, so it's more of a traditional in terms of like what you think of when you think of like a big tall ship, right? Boat controls are hard because again it's got that square sail and then it's got a jib up front here. And then weather is medium. It's a very relatively calm weather. Navigation is medium just because you can and can't see some of the islands. So, but the economy in Astron is supremely inflated. So like 1 coin here is worth like nothing compared to like in the Al region. The economy in the Emerald Archipelago is again like around like the medium kind of standpoint. So we're gonna go ahead and start this save here in the Al region and see what we can get up to. See if we can make our fortune on the seas here. Alright, so early access game, fantastic game, don't worry about it. There are a couple of bugs which we may or may not run into, but we'll see. You can also join their Discord. Fantastic Discord community. I would recommend it. So this is our little boat here. Single mast. Nice little dhow sail. And then when you come in here, you are started off with a compass, which I like to immediately put in my pocket. You're started off with a lantern and a mug. And this is your, like, how to play the game, basically. It's just in this little scroll here. We're going to go through a lot of this, so I'm just going to scroll through this slowly, and if you want you can pause and take a look at what it all says, but blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah. Got it? Good. Alright. You also get a map, which we're immediately going to go ahead and place, alright, not right there, but we're going to go ahead and place that on the little, the thing, you know, the post. We're going to pop that there, purely because it sticks there, and then we don't have to worry about it, you know, being in our pockets or anything. We can just be at the helm like good sailors and pop over and be like, ah, yes, the map, you know? The mug, we're going to go ahead and pick up that in our inventory as well, as with the lantern. Don't worry, the mug won't be long for this world. We're going to sell it pretty quickly. So basically, the point of this game is to just trade and make money. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and this is our trading guy. You can always determine like where the trading people are, because they have the blue flag outside of the building, which tells you like, this is the trading outpost. So now this binder here, the trade binder, we can't access this yet, because we don't have the reputation. See, if we try to do it, it's just like, not enough reputation. Who's this guy? Nobody knows, you know? So we're going to go ahead and click this. Mail here, 25 coins just for 1 trip, so we'll go ahead and take that, unless we've got anything else. Nope, that's our best bet at the moment. So go ahead and grab that. We'll walk over to this guy, see if he's got anything interesting. He's got dates, bananas, and bread for sale. We don't need any of that. This guy has barrels of rum and some wine. We don't need that. If I remember correctly, there should be a merchant down here that sells, like, hooks. So we can go ahead and put our lantern up. Yep, it's this person. So we're gonna go ahead, how much money we got? We start with 60. We're gonna go ahead and buy a hook and put that in our inventory. They also sell mugs, they sell lanterns, they sell compasses, firewood, candles, a broom, fishing hooks, and fishing rods. All stuff that you can deal with later. And then that guy down there just sells like food, like cooked food, which does like your bars down here. And we'll get into these bars as we play the game more. But yeah, also one thing that I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to hawk this for 3 coins. Alright, maybe not. Yeah, you take it. Alright, hold on. We got this. There we go. We're going to sell that for 3 coins, so we're down to 49, even though we started with 60 because we bought the hook for the lantern. So we're going to go ahead and grab our mail here and pop it in our boat. Just anywhere is good. We'll just chuck it there for now. Alright, and now it's time to set sail. So the best way to do that is we're going to come over here, we're going to grab the mooring line in the aft, and we're going to grab our bow mooring line, and we're just going to chuck that in there. And then we have to look and see which way the wind's going. So the wind is going basically that way, which is like east-southeast, right? So we'll just go ahead and drop the sails all the way. And because of the way the wind's going, we really don't have to deal with it too much just yet. What we may want to do, and we're looking for Gold Rock City, right? And Gold Rock is, if we look at our map here, we started down here in Neverden, and we're going to Gold Rock City, which as you can see is about like northwestish from where we're going. So if we go up to the front here, and then it doesn't always have to be from the front, you can do it wherever you want, honestly. But if we look at our compass, we're going about northeastish, right? Which is where we're supposed to go. I now realize I said northwest when I was looking at the map, but that's fine, because we can actually see where we're looking, where we're trying to go. So we just have to point the bow over there and we'll get her at her. So, to steer, your best bet, oh, what on earth? Hold on, I got some settings all wonked out. Alright, there we go. So we'll go ahead and hit F to go ahead and grab the wheel, and then we'll point it straight at Gold Rock City here, and now you've got 2 options. You can either right click to lock the wheel in place, or you can just left click and then it'll just kind of meander about on its own. Most of the times you're going to want to be left clicking instead of locking the wheel in place, because if you right click it, if there's like a slight change of the wind, you may just veer off that way, and that's never a good thing. So with the way the wind is blowing, it is currently blowing ahead of us, but it's blowing ahead of us at an angle, like around like this kind of mark, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open the sail up a little bit to catch even more of that wind. And then you can hit C to go into your external camera, which is always nice. And then see that it's hitting it, but it's not hitting it as efficiently as it could, so we'll just let it out just a little bit more. There we go. And there we are. So this series is going to be pretty much uncut, except for maybe loading and unloading as we get further down the line, just because there eventually will just be a whole bunch of stuff that we're putting on and taking off the boat. But the biggest reason for there not being too much editing is purely and simply I don't know how to edit I don't know how to edit anything. So I can basically only deal with what I can do in the YouTube editor, because I don't know, I'm just still figuring this stuff out, so don't mind me. But we'll figure it out together, it'll be fine. So we also start with, this is also important, we start with a barrel of water. We've got 60 drinks in there. We've got our hammock back here for sleeping. And then this box up here is goat's cheese, because we need to keep our bars filled. The bottom bar is your food bar. Very simple, if you run out of food, you perish. If you run out of water, you perish. If you run out of sleep, say it with me, that's right, you perish. So in this game, basically what happens is if you do perish, is your boat and what is in your pocket, so like what's in here, gets reset to the nearest capital city. So that would be Gold Rock, where we're going. What does go away is your water goes away, your barrel. If you have a table, that goes away. Your map, that goes away. Your load, that goes away. Your food, all goes away, right? So basically you want to keep on top of your bars here, because if you don't, you're in for a rough time. Depending on when it happens to you in the game, it's sometimes not terrible because you just have enough money to repurchase everything, but at the current moment, you really don't want to be doing that, so just make sure you keep on top of your bars. Now, one thing we will do is we'll go ahead and put up our lantern. We'll go ahead and pop it up right there, and then we'll go ahead and grab our lantern and pop it up there. Just in the perfect spot so that while we're sitting here and using the helm, we can bonk ourselves in the head with it constantly, you know what I'm saying? So that's always good. But yeah, this game is not fast-paced as you could possibly imagine a sailing game being. But in terms of vibes, it absolutely nails the sailing vibes, in my opinion. Like just the water, like I just want to go swimming here, you know what I'm saying? Like the swimming, you can almost hear the wind, the gentle spray coming up the bow here as you slice through the water. Like it's just got the vibes. Like there's a whole bunch of other sailing games out there that are very good games, but in my opinion don't have the vibes as much. The closest, in my opinion, that I think has gotten to that would be maybe Sea of Thieves and maybe even like Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But in terms of like the rest of the like boat games that I've played, I don't think any of them really have the same like vibes on lock as Sailwind does. But it's this is a game that's been out for a few years now in early access. I think maybe like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Been out in early access by a single developer. Whole bunch of strides and progress has been made on the game throughout those years, so it's not just like one of those games that's put on Steam and it's just like, here's a Unity assets plot, play it, give me money, and then like it's not worked on anymore. Like this is a game that's been worked on consistently. And then like if you have any issues or bugs or anything or even suggestions, you can go onto the game's Discord page and suggest it. And there's a whole like big active community there of like people who play the game and everything like that. Another thing that I would like to mention is that this video and indeed this series is not sponsored. I'm not sponsored, but it is words English. I speak it. It's the only language I speak, and yet I still don't know the words. This series is inspired by, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. This series is inspired by Dalton Rutlinger. He's got a very nice collection of series of Sailwind on his YouTube channel. I've been watching his YouTube channel for, I think I first found it back in July of this past year in 2024, and I basically binged the entirety of his content backlog on this game. So, absolute insane massive shout out to Dalton Rudlinger for the inspiration for this series. And if you like this episode and this game and stuff like that, this video, you would absolutely enjoy his channel. So, would definitely suggest that. But yeah. So now, here is some interesting things that we get to do at the moment, because we can see 4 separate islands, right? Is because there's no map in this game. The only map that you get is this map. So like, where we are on this map, we can only determine ourselves. So currently at the moment, we've got a clear enough sky so we can actually do something called visual navigation, right? So we are currently headed almost directly east-northeast, right, on this little blue dot here. And we can see that island there, which at this point we know we came from. And then we can see that island over there, and we can see the big island, Gold Rock, in front of us, right? So with that, we know that based off of the direction, right? So this is almost directly northwest of us from where we are, and then when we look back, Neverdin is almost directly west-southwest. And then, so with that, we can just be like, oh, west-southwest, that's about Neverdin, right? So we can see that because of the direction from there, that island is definitely the Isle of Clear Mind, which makes the island back there in the distance where the cursor is, that makes that island Lion's Fang. And that's basically the navigational strategies we're going to be using for just like the first couple episodes here until we get to the big ocean stuff, right? Because there's really not too much we could do with just what we have available to us at the moment. A couple other things to note is that specifically in this archipelago, the El Ankh region, the Isle of Clear Mind and Lion's Fang are uninhabited, so we will probably never on purpose be going to those islands. There is a possibility that we end up going there accidentally, but we won't ever be going there on purpose. What we will probably be doing a lot though is the Gold Rock City to El Nalem run, because El Nalem makes goods and Gold Rock City loves them some goods. We'll also probably be doing the Gold Rock City to Alchemist Island route a whole bunch, because Gold Rock City produces a whole bunch that Alchemist Island wants, and Alchemist Island produces a whole bunch of things that Gold Rock City wants, right? So, the goal of the game is to make money, so we'll just continue doing that. And you may be like, but why? What is the point of making money in Sailwind? And that is an excellent question that will be answered in full once we get to Gold Rock City. Because once we get to Gold Rock City, we can start to see, like, what we can do with our money. Like, why does it matter? Like, you know, like that kind of stuff. So, let's see here. We can take a look and see, where is the sun? There, that's the moon. There's the sun, so it's about noonish. Because the sun is almost directly overhead. It's set, rises in the east, sets in the west, all, you know, standard stuff. The reason I asked that question is because sleep is a resource that you have to manage in this game. And it's not necessarily a resource in the fact that, like, oh, you just have to keep the bar full. If you always just sleep to keep the bar full, you end up sleeping at the absolutely most inopportune times. You will always find yourself, like, in the dark when you come into port, or, like, you know, like, it'll be dark outside when you're trying to do some, like, navigational stuff, right? You just don't want that. It's a pain. So, sleep is a thing that needs to be managed in this game almost as much as, like, your food and water. Now, however, you can game it a little bit, because you will wake, so when you do fall asleep, you cannot wake up until the game wakes you up. So you can't just be like, oh, I'll just take like a 20-minute power nap. You can't control that. Once you fall asleep in the game, like, you are asleep until you wake up from whatever reason. The only exceptions are when your food or water bar get to about here, because you'll wake up because you're hungry and thirsty. So on a longer voyage, or like if you're coming into port or something, you can utilize that to your advantage. Say, like, you're down here on sleep and you really need some sleep, but, like, you're getting close to a port, but you look down at your bars and see that you only have about this much water left. You can go ahead and this much hydration left, right? You can then go ahead and go to sleep, and then you'll be woken up by the fact that you need to drink water or eat some food, so that way you get a little bit of sleep in, but you don't really have to worry about anything. Now, in your playthroughs, you may want to sleep whenever, because you won't really have to deal with the nighttime as much. The game it's pretty easy to see what's happening at nighttime in this game. However, it doesn't really come across well on, like, the videos or the streams or, like, anything like that. So we're going to be doing some weird sleeping patterns and some strange maneuvers, just so we can keep as much of the, like, the docking, coming into port, like, all that fun stuff. We're going to be trying to do as much of that in the daytime as possible. So, yeah. At the moment, we can't really speed anything up. We could potentially open the sails a little bit more. We'll go ahead and pop that just to get as much wind in the sail as possible. We also may want to come this way just a little bit. There we go. And then let go of the wheel. Now, if you take a look-see here, the mail isn't due in Gold Rock City for about 3 more days. And that's 3 days including tomorrow. Which sounds weird, but it will make sense at some point, I promise. Basically, it goes like 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, tomorrow, and then it's due, like on the bottom text here. So it's really only when this says tomorrow or today that you need to be kind of worried about it, and that's going to make more sense as we get closer to Gold Rock City. Now, the weather is random when you start the game, which is mildly unfortunate, because there's been times when I've been able to go directly from Neverdin over there to Gold Rock City within like the span of 1 day cycle, which would have been nice because we're doing the video, right? But the wind, although it's being nice to us, it's just being slow. But it's a sailing game. It's not exactly high stakes action packed, you know what I mean? So wind is shifted a little bit more, so we'll pull the sails a little bit tighter. Just get as much of that wind as possible. And then, if we had a spyglass, we'd be able to look up and see where the entrance to the port is up here. But at the moment, we don't have that, so I can just tell you from experience that we're looking right about like that area where my cursor was just then. That back there, that would be the Isle of Clear Mind still. And then all the way back there in the distance, that's still Neverdin. And then that back there, that would be Lion's Fang still. And we're getting close to the point where we may want to take a little nap. I think we'll utilize the daylight for as much as we have it. And then when it does get dark, I'm going to go ahead and chuck the anchor down. Because so that way we can do the first docking in port in the daytime. But yeah, so we'll just take a few seconds, just kind of chill and enjoy the vibes. You may have just seen the sail get dark there quite dramatically. That would be the sun going below the horizon, or as much as it is. Still a little bit of a glow, but we're casting shadows now. And then we'll go ahead and we'll still continue a little bit more because we can still see. And we do have the lanterns, but the lanterns you do have to like spend money on the candles to keep them running, and they do run out quite quickly. So we won't be burning through the lanterns too much when we could just drop anchor and fast forward a bit. Well, fast forward by sleeping. It's not really like fast forwarding, you know what I mean? So we'll keep going until we find the fact that we can't see anything. But we'll just make sure that we're still headed for the right area. Yep, right around there. We're still doing well. And then the keen-eyed among you may have noticed that when we do go into third-person mode, we don't have the character model. But it's early access, doesn't matter to me too much. You do have weight though, so if your boat's too heavy and like on the one side your character's sitting over there, you may tip over the boat. So keep that in mind. You always want your character to be standing as much in the center line of the boat or to the offside of where the rest of your cargo is. So that way you can keep it all centered and everything, because you don't want to sink. If you sink, you run out of money, and if you run out of money, well, that's just boring. So it's getting to the point where it's getting dark now. On my monitor here, it's looking alright, but looking at the stream monitor, it's not looking great, so. Which is a shame, because you miss out on a lot of the nuances of the sunsets and sunrises in this game, but that's okay. So, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come up here and we're gonna go to about half sail. For the sole purpose that that's gonna slow us down, and hopefully if we fall asleep, that means we won't crash into the island, and then, you know, there's no damage in the game, but if you do get onto the island, like, you just have to push the boat back into the water, but sometimes that is a real pain, so we're trying to do that as little as possible. Oh, the moon's coming out though, which is why the sea just got brighter there. If we go over here, can we take a look at the moon? Oh, it's just about above us there. Again, I apologize that this doesn't look as good on your screens as it does on mine, but if you're liking the vibes, this is definitely a game to pick up. So, we're going to take a look here. We're low on sleep. We're not exactly too far, so what we might do is we might go ahead and pull that up a little bit more, go to about a quarter sail. Just go ahead and take a little sleep. So while I'm in this stage, I can hit the F button again to wake up, but as soon as we get to see like the little stars, you can't wake up until the game wakes you up. So we're just kind of at the mercy of the wind and the waves and the ocean until we wake up. Which in a calm sea is fine, but you know, sometimes when it's in a heavy sea and your hammock is outside the boat, you just get wet a lot. So how my player sleeps through being underwater, I don't know, but that's not a question for us to raise, really. Just accept that it works, and that's you know, that's all you get. Alright, so we woke up now because we're about to hit the island. So that is one of the nice things about the game, is that it will wake you up in certain things. If a storm starts, you'll be woken up. If you're about to hit land, you'll be woken up. There is on occasion, it is not religious. So on occasion, you are woken up when it hits midnight. And whereas that doesn't make any sense now, it will be making sense at some point here in the future when we start to do ocean navigation. Because the stars in the sky, although they're not the same as they are in real life, they are useful for navigation. This star, I believe it's either this one or this one. This one of these two is the North Star. And once we get a quadrant, we can actually use that to determine our latitude? It's either latitude or longitude. I always get the two confused, but again, that will make more sense as we get to into port here. So, here's the thing. I'm looking around, and what I can see, you guys seem to not be able to see. Because like that island is quite bright on my screen, but on the tiny screen it doesn't look very bright. So as much as in my playthroughs, when I was playing alone, I would usually just go ahead and continue doing this because we've got a good amount of sleep. What we're actually going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to pull up the sails completely, and we're going to come up here to the front of the boat and drop anchor. And you know the anchors hit the bottom when you hear that noise. And basically what this is going to do for us is it's just going to allow us to sleep through the night completely and quickly. So you will have noticed when we were sleeping earlier that the bar was going up slowly. Because we're at anchor, and this also happens when you're docked at a port, the bar goes up hella fast, which is nice. So there, you can see what I was talking about earlier, the fact that you get woken up when you have a need for food and water. So we'll go ahead and grab our mug, fill it with water, and then take a little drink. And the world's best noise effect. Oh yeah, that's awful. Alright. And then we'll go back to sleep here till it's daytime. So one thing I do wish that they add is that they make an option for that noise to be muted. Because that is not great noise, I'll tell you what. Okay, so you may have noticed we are now pointing in a completely different direction from when we first dropped the anchor. That's because we drift in the middle of the night. The wind still has a force on us, whether or not we are using it. And it's just kind of pushing us to where it wants to be. So we'll go ahead and pull up the anchor. The wind is coming almost directly at us, so what we do is if we go ahead and pull that point, we'll pull this all the way to the left and lock it. We'll go ahead and drop sail, use as much of the little bit of wind as we have available to us, and just kind of point the bow towards the port. That there into the distance is one of the AI ships. There we go. And straighten her out there, Captain. Beautiful. We'll go ahead and see which way the wind's pointing. That way, which is honestly kind of about perfect. So we'll go ahead and lift the sails out all the way. Kind of take as much speed as we can. We might need to pull it back a little bit. Nice. There we go. And then just there, at the top of my mast, you can see a couple other things in the distance there, and that's where the dock is, basically. I don't know if you guys can see it on your screens, but there are little posts sticking up out of the water everywhere, and those are essentially like low, like shallow water markers, right? So if you get too close, you have the risk of bottoming out, which on this boat isn't too much of a big deal, but on the bigger boats can be a right pain. Because if your boat is loaded with a whole bunch of like weight, you'll just end up stuck. And I've been stuck on one of those sandbanks for a good long while, let me tell you. But yeah, we're coming into port here. So what we might even go ahead and do is just pull the sails up a little bit. Close the sails a little bit. Kind of point our bow a little bit closer to where we're actually supposed to be going. We don't want to get too close to those poles, because that, you know, like I said earlier, there's shallow water over there. So we're going to want to stay to the right of those poles. But the dock is just behind them over there. And this is Gold Rock City, so we're currently in like this little bit of the channel. And if we look over there, you can see the split that's over there, which puts us almost directly at the top left of this G here in terms of positioning. Wind's picked up a little bit more. The boat's going pretty quick, even though it's half sail. And you can see the little sandbank out there. So we want to stay kind of a little bit farther away from that. And if you go into third person here, you can really see that sandbank, but we'll be just passing over the top of it with probably about 3 feet to a meter or so below the keel. Alright, we'll go ahead and pull in here. Now when you pull into Gold Rock City, you've got a couple of options when it comes to docking. Right? Because we have, so that noise you hear there, that's the sails luffing. What that means is that there's no wind in the sails. Now that luffing noise is gone, we have wind in the sails again. However, we need to go ahead and pull those up to about, pull them all the way up, close them all the way, and then we'll go ahead and pull up to the right here. And there's a little jetty there that we're trying to get right about up to, because it'll just make leaving a little bit easier. And perfect. We'll go ahead and grab our mooring line. Thankfully there's no boat damage in the game. You can just sink. It doesn't get damaged, so we can hit the dock with as much ferocity as we would like to. Not recommended, but yeah, you know, it's a game. There's no fenders in this game, so we can't like use those to cushion our arrivals. And fenders are just those little, like the balloons and things, or tires, or pool noodle bits that are on the outside of a boat that kind of hang down on the side. We'll go ahead and tie that close. Now we don't want these to be super tight, the mooring lines, because we want to allow our boat to have enough movement to freely go up and down with the water. And in a semi-enclosed harbor like this one, it's not too much of a problem, but on some of the outpost islands that are like directly facing the ocean, you don't want to do that. So we've made it to Gold Rock City. So we'll go ahead and grab our mail, which we've got 2 days left. Sorry, I'm just playing with the scroll wheel. And there we go. Mission Gold Rock City is complete. We gained a little bit of reputation and we gained our 25 coins. So we're up to 74 coins already. Alonk Lions, I believe they're called. Are they? Yeah, Alonk Lions. Alright, so now that we're here in port, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this table and we're gonna hawk it for cash because I have no need for a table. I've got crates of storage things that you can use. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here and be like, dude, 33 coins? Absolutely. Look at that. Wow, that is loud. Okay, so now that we're here, we're gonna go ahead and buy a bottle of water for 3 coins. We're gonna put that in our pocket. We're gonna take our mug and we're gonna sell that too. And the reason for that is that the mug only holds 3 drinks of water, whereas the bottle holds 5 drinks of water. And it's just easier to manage, and you don't have to deal with the facing upwards to use the mug or anything like that. And this is the market in one of the main capitals. So while you're here, you can buy bottles of water, you can buy barrels of water. There is tobacco that you can smoke in the game. Has different status effects for the different colors. You can buy a pipe to smoke said tobacco. You can buy food, and because we're low on food, we'll go ahead and buy some food and chow down on a lamb steak here. And then we're going to buy another bottle and drink all this. Yum, 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 yum. And then we can sell it back to them because we don't want to carry it. We've already got a bottle in our inventory. Some sausages, some fish, cooked and uncooked fish. We can buy a thing of dates, which are these things. You can buy coconuts. Now you can't actually eat the coconuts in the game, which keep this in mind because I've been caught out by that so many times. We'll all be on a voyage and be like, oh, I'll be fine, I've got coconuts. I can't eat the coconuts. I don't know why you can't eat the coconuts, but you can eat the coconuts. You can buy bread. Grain, you also can't eat grain. You can buy cooked fish, raw fish, and then over here we start to get to the furniture. So this is stuff that comes with the new update, which is all of the spoilage and cooking and nutrition kind of stuff. And we'll get there eventually. We're not there yet. But essentially, like the cheese that we have in the horde, eventually it will go bad. Which, in between islands, really not an issue. But by the time you get to like the big long ocean voyages, it starts to be a problem. But you can buy a stove, you can buy a smoker, you can buy a drying rack, tables, firewood, salt, you know, all the fun stuff. Over here we can buy a fishing rod to catch our own food from the ocean. We can buy boxes of fishing hooks. Over here we can buy some more lanterns, and buy some more hooks, boxes of lantern candles, lamp oil, because the A-string region, the lamps that you get in that region are oil lamps and not candle lamps like they are in the Alonk region and the Emerald Archipelago. This cutting knife here actually goes with the food people. I don't know why it's not being sold by the food people, but you know. Broom to clean your boat, more lantern candles, and a bug, which we just sold. Now over here is the more exciting part of the game. So this little bit here is where we are currently. Gold Rock City, right there in the middle. If we go ahead and pop that map back down, we can now take a look at the big ocean map. And this is where the navigation really comes into play. Down in the left there, you can see Gold Rock City is right about -531. And then you can see Dragon Cliffs on the far right side at the bottom is 31.5. And then Fort A-String, which is the other capital, is right around... Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry about that, I had a cough, really hope that muted. Fort A-String right up there is right around 41, like in terms of like latitude versus longitude, right? Now, what do those numbers mean? What do those numbers matter? Well, if we come over here to the quadrant, say it was midnight, right, and we can see the North Star, we look at the North Star, I've just purchased this, that's honestly fine, and then, I'm sorry, I forgot the button to look. There we go, it's right click. So if we were to like look up at the North Star, it's midnight, right? Say the North Star is right about where the end of that thing is. We could look at that and be like, oh, we're at 45. And that 45 corresponds with the up and down on this map here. We could also do that in the middle of the daytime with the sun compass. Oh, we're just outside the range. But if you were to take this and look at this directly north-south at noon on any given day, where the top bit of that shadow lies will tell you where you are north-south on your latitude, longitude. And then, if you use this tool in coordination with the clock, depending on when you hit noon with the sun compass, where the shadow fully lines up with the middle line, you can take however much that is based off of the clock, divided by about 4 in this world, and you've got where you are east-west on the latitude longitude, there, the numbers down below. But that's a thing that we won't have to deal with for a very long time, because, well, we need the money to pay for all that stuff, and we just don't have it. Well, you may be thinking to yourself, but Dan, I don't want to do a long-ass journey in this little boat. And for that, I say that I do not blame you. Which is why there's the big boats. Each region has their own version of the big boat. This boat is cost 75 gold, and then has a nice hold down below, which is very nice and muffled from the outside. It's a very nice place to be. But you've got your sleeping quarters down here, so you're no longer drowning half the time when you're sleeping, and that's always nice. And then you have a little, like, captain's area back here for all of your management and stuff and needs, right? However, this boat costs 75 gold, which is interesting considering we only have 79 Alonk lions. So how does that work? Well, if we walk this way, and I could sprint, I'm just stingy and don't want to waste my water, because when you sprint, it uses your water stat, and I don't want to do that, so we go slow around here. So this little treasure chest here is only in the capital cities of all the regions, but when you're in here, you can be like, oh, I have this currency and I want to buy this currency. So, say we want to buy 1 gold lion, it costs 37 of these to buy 1 gold lion. So, you can kind of tell that there's a little bit of a grind in this game, but it's a very enjoyable grind, honestly. So we're not going to go ahead and buy those gold lions yet, because we do need this money. We're going to go ahead and, if we want to do some trade, we don't have enough reputation for that yet. And if we go into our log here, we can see how much reputation we have. So reputation will give you levels. The levels will allow you to take more missions. They will also give you cheaper prices at the market, which we saw earlier. And we need up 300 reputation in order to unlock the trading. Also in here, we've got daily logs, which will basically tells us our income expenses total for those specific days, or all time. Trade receipts we don't have to worry about yet. Current missions, they just pop up here, which is basically like, you have mail that goes from here to there. As soon as you grab a mission, we'll take another look at this. And then there's also, like your mission history, which you've done previously. You can't scroll on this. Well, you might be able to, I honestly don't remember. But it really only shows this, and you can't click on it for more information, which is, I mean, you know, it really tells you what you need. You made this much money, you made this much reputation. The bread and butter of this game is in the trading, so by the time that you end up doing the missions, you're really only doing them for, like, reputation and the discounts in the stores, right? So we'll go ahead and see what we can do. See, this is what I'm talking about. The Gold Rock City to Alchemist Island route, this is a very profitable route. However, if we come outside, Alchemist Island is almost directly south of where we're standing. So that's that way. And if you look at the flags, at our windage flags here, you can see that the wind is going that way. Now, if the wind was going directly from the south to the north, we wouldn't want to be going to Alchemist Island, because it would just take us too long to get there. However, the way the current wind is currently facing is we should be fine. Now, as you can hear the wind, and see the clouds above us, there is a little bit of a storm brewing. So what I'm thinking we might do, actually, against all sailing intuition, is we may actually go straight into the storm just for the sake of the video. I don't know, seems like a good idea to me. It may not be, who knows, it'll be fun. So we'll go ahead here, green tobacco to Alchemist Island, we'll go ahead and take that, and then we'll see, we can take one more job. Can we take anything else to Alchemist Island? We can take some goods, so that's 240 pounds, which does matter, because the boat that we start with can only take 1,000 pounds. Really, it's about 800 pounds before it starts to get kind of sketchy, but loading this boat to over 1,000 pounds in the water that we're about to sail into is not recommended. So it's 240 pounds for 33 lines, which is not terrible. However, oranges, 159 pounds for 29, still not terrible. The black tobacco is 16.2 for 27. Now because we're doing missions, we really only care about the reward. Sorry. The reward and the reputation. So we'll also go ahead and take the goods. And then everything spawns right here. And this, right here, loading goods up and putting them onto your boat. By the time that you're doing a lot of the inner island sailing missions, wow, it's really coming down. It's raining, thunder, and lightning. A beautiful day for sailing, if ever there was one. Oh dear. Oh, this is the first time I've heard that thunder with the volume so high. That's pretty good, actually. So we'll go ahead and load the boat up. Now, as you can see, as we put stuff in the boat does start to sink a little bit. Well, not sink, but it gets lower in the water, right? And that's just because we're adding weight to it. Managing where you put the weight in this game is very important. Because you don't want to put too much weight in the front, you don't want to put too much weight in the back, you don't want to put too much weight to one side. You want to keep it as even as possible. There we go. Come on. Nice. And now we get to go ahead and load up our tobacco. Green tobacco. Definitely not in quotation marks, don't worry about it. Pop. Pop that there. Go ahead and grab this. And we'll put this in here. Alright, so interestingly, if you see that big gray cloud over there, that is actually where the storm is. If we take a look at where the wind is going, the wind's going directly that way. If we look at where the storm is coming directly at us. So when you're out on the open ocean, sometimes you can actually avoid the storm and basically just use the wind to give you a supercharged boost as you go where you're going. However, in the little archipelagos, which is the regions that we're currently in, or like one of the other regions, the seas are almost limited to a height, so the small starting boats can almost always take a storm in the archipelago seas. It's only once they get into proper ocean water that it starts to get a little bit hairy. Alright, where is the sun? The sun is right over there. If we were to leave now, we might actually be able to outrun the storm. I don't think we have anything left to do here. Oh, that is such a vibe. Yeah, screw it, we got this. Now in your game, you may not want to do this, but we have some, we've got a video to make, so we're gonna send it. Famous last words. Oh, yeah, we have... Alright, maybe not full sail. We may do this at half sail. So we have wind and we're going to use it. Come on. Pull up a little bit, just a little. Like we're right about half, 3/4. Now we've got to navigate between the posts up here on the left, and there's going to be another set of posts up on the right. And we can basically use the wind of the storm to our advantage at the moment. Beautiful little bit of lightning over there. Alright, so we are going to Alchemist Island. And if you take a look at the map, that's almost directly south from Gold Rock City. And I'm gonna alt-tab for a quick second here. Go ahead and check our monitor. How's that working? It's going pretty good, actually. The room is a little bit loud, so I may go ahead and turn that down, actually, if you'll give me a quick second. There we go. Actually, how do we want to do this? I think the way that we're going to do the game volume is we'll just do it from the in-game volume. So go ahead and go to about here, and just kind of go from there. So now, we can't directly see where those posts are. If we look at our compass, the compass may not be correct because we are in a storm. So keep that in mind when you're navigating through a storm. Go ahead and turn the lights on. It may have been a mistake going out in the middle of the storm, but you know. It's all for the fun of it, really. Oh yeah. Maximum vibes over here. Alright. Oh, the seas are getting rough. Okay, so that line there that you just saw in the water, that was the edge of the island boundary. Basically once you get outside of the island boundary, the seas will pick up, and when you're inside the island boundary, they just kind of stay relatively similar. Like this stays relatively flat and calm. We are currently heading south-ish, which is actually pretty good. I believe we have forward movement. It's hard to tell. Now in real life you wouldn't want your sails to be luffing like that in the wind because they would just take damage, but well, this is not real life, so we don't really have to worry about that. The one thing we don't like is the fact that we appear to be going directly into the wind. That's because we're going the wrong way a little bit. Oh, we're going backwards, I believe, which is not good. Alright, well, go ahead and pull you in point. We'll come up to you, and then, basically what we just did there is we just pulled the J-turn, is we went from facing directly into the wind from facing out of the wind a little bit. The waves are not happy with us though. That's okay. They don't need to be happy with us. They just need to not sink us. Which, you know, might be a bit of a strong ask in a storm, but that's alright. So I guess for a little bit here, we'll just go ahead and I'm gonna turn the sound down just a little bit more. Maybe a bit more. There we go. And we'll just kind of enjoy the vibes. Even when it's terrifying, this game's still a vibe. But you can see from where the lightning was that storm's almost past us. And the fact that we can see stars on the horizon is another good sign. Well, that was a big one. But we are picking up speed. If we pull that out, we're still going roughly the right direction. And I'll tell you what I am going to do though, is I'm going to go ahead and pull the sails up a little bit. Because we have the storm with us, we don't want to be going too fast. Let's see here. The boat will always want to go into the waves. It's just the way it works. When you're in a real boat too, if you're sitting there with no power, no wind, no nothing, the front of the boat will always want to be facing the wave, just because it's the least amount of resistance, either the front or the back, to be honest with you. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be stuck sitting at anchor or sitting there doing nothing with your sides to the waves, because if your sides are to the waves, it's just way too easy to capsize. But storm does seem to be calming down a little bit. The ocean doesn't seem to agree, but it doesn't really matter what the ocean wants. What we might do is we might actually go ahead and take a little sleep. So we'll go ahead and extinguish the candle and take a nap. I love the effect of still being able to hear the storm going on even though you're asleep. Alright, now that we have woken up, we're going to go up here, and because it's storming, we're going to check our course again, make sure we're still going the right direction, and we are. And, not only that, but the rain appears to have stopped, which is always nice. So we're going to go ahead and take a little... Oh, we need to drink some water, so we'll go ahead and do that. Just a little bit, we don't want to drink too much, because we want to keep our... bars kind of low. Make sure we're still going south. A little bit. So we'll go ahead and pull to the left a bit. Which I believe is starboard? As in left? No, left is port. I'll remember that one day. But we're going basically the right direction right now. And then we're only at about half mast, which is pretty good on the sails. We'll go ahead and pull it up a little bit more, just to control our speed while we're sleeping. We'll go ahead and go back to sleep here. I keep getting confused because the headset microphone that I have, the red light's on because it's muted, but I'm using a different microphone, so I keep thinking the microphone's muted, so I keep having to go check it, but it's not muted because it's just a different microphone. Of course, it would be real funny if I alt-tabbed right now to find that my microphone that I am using isn't working, but luckily that's not the case, so. We'll see when we wake up. And when we wake up, hopefully we'll have the island that we're looking for in sight. If we wake up at this rate. Yep, there we go. Wow, it's still dark though, but we need some more water, so we'll go ahead and take one more drink. Do we want one more drink? Yeah, let's just take one more drink. And this moon's out. It's gold rock in the background, the silhouetted amongst the stars. I don't know if you can see it on there, but if you end up playing this game for yourself, you'll know what I mean. And then we'll go ahead and pop the candle back off and go back to sleep for a little bit longer. See if we can turn the lights on in here. Alright, there we go. Ah, beautiful! And those islands there is where we're going. So we can go ahead, run up here, go down to full mast on the sails. Now this little bit right here, that's an artifact from the ropes. It's part of the early access bugs, don't worry about it. It means literally nothing, will cause you no issues, and it's just kinda, it just hangs out with you. So we'll point about a little bit closer this way. We don't want to be going too much directly into the wind, but where we're going is not on this island right here, it's right on these two islands, so. But back in the old days of this game, when you started in the Alank region, if you remember the menu from the beginning of the game, the one that said like, settings, continue, new game, load, yada yada yada. That was in the game world, above the island where we started in Neverdin, and it would just kind of sit there, in the sky, all the time. So whenever you were in this region, you'd be able to look over that way and there would be the menu just kind of floating. It was very useful for navigation, so it's a bug that needed to be fixed, but at the same time I'm kind of sad it got fixed, because it was just kind of strange, you know. How much is left? 52. So we'll take 2 more drinks and then fill it up again. Because the bottle goes in increments of 5 and the barrel goes in increments of 10. And I like the even numbers, I don't know what to tell you. We do need some food, so we'll go up here and crack into our cheese box. Go ahead and open it and... Come on. Yeah, what? Grab some cheese. Sorry, I'm still not used to the new crate inventory thing. There we go. How's the wind looking? Oh, we can go ahead and spare a few degrees to the starboard before we go directly into the wind. Beautiful. There we go. And we're going upwind, so it'll be a little bit slower progress. Oh, there's another... What is that? There's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's our barrel. I think that's just more artifacting. Right at the top right corner of the screen. I honestly can't tell, you know. We have everything in our inventory. We have our lamp. We have all of our cargo. We have our cheese. It's one of these times where you wish you had a spyglass. I don't know what that is. Do we go find out? Or is it constant distance away from the boat? I don't know. But we have everything that we're supposed to have, so it's not ours. This is something that sometimes what does happen is, like, if water hits, like say our map here, right? If water came up here and like there was a wave that knocked it, it would take it off the boat. But we're not missing anything, so I don't know what that is. And it's staying in the same spot when I move my screen, so it's not just like dirt. Well, I don't know. Open our inventory, we have our compass, our bottle, and our quadrant. And there's no loot boxes in this game, so... I don't know. We may never know. That's alright. As long as we have everything that we need, which we do. And we're coming out to port anyway, so we're about to make money, so... That's really what matters in this game. If we do it quick enough, we might be able to grab some money and then go see what that is. I also can't tell if that thing's getting closer or further away. Maybe it's the menu back again, who knows? I don't know. Very strange. Yeah, I don't know. I also can't tell if it's at a set distance away or if it's at like... or if it's getting further away. Based off of how it's moving in relation to the top of the screen, it appears to be moving with us, so I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. But that's alright. We're getting close to the Alchemist Island here, and this is one of the more interesting islands in this region because it's just 2 people who live here. And they don't sell anything extremely useful except for bottles of water. They do sell things that are useful for the late game. They sell an energy elixir, which will give you energy at the cost of some of your food bar. And they also sell snake oil, which basically helps you go to sleep. And those are very useful for in the big ocean when you're doing like big storms. Because you don't usually want to fall asleep during those. Oh, just vibes, honestly. Go ahead and take a look behind us, see if that thing's still there. Oh, it is still there. Oh, it's following us. Alright, so it's just a bug. That's fine. Oh, it might be the main menu, you know? How funny would that be if we were just talking about it and it just pops up out of nowhere? Alright, so unfortunately the dock that we're looking for, which is right out there, is the exact direction the wind's coming from, so we might have to execute what is known in the business as a tack, which basically is going diagonally to the wind, so to allow you to go upwind. Yeah, we're gonna need to have to execute a tack here eventually, so we'll go over here and we'll start it now. Basically, we need to have enough forward momentum so we can pull the boat all the way around to put wind in the sails again. If you're going too slowly, you won't be able to do this because you'll just end up pointed directly into the wind halfway through the turn. And if that happens, there are a few ways to get out of it, but they are quite annoying, so we try to avoid that as much as possible. However, the good news is that the way the wind's blowing, it'll be very easy to get back to Gold Rock, so that's nice. But that over there is where we're going. And as you can see now, we're not pointed to where we're supposed to go anymore, but we still have the wind in the sail, which is nice. And then once we get almost to the point where it's directly that way, we can start pointing the boat directly to that direction and then go straight at it. Until then, though, we just kind of go with the motion of the ocean. Currently, from the tools that we have at the moment, the only way that we can tell our speed is by the wake trails behind the boat here. And you can see the little bubble lines behind us and those things. The faster we go, the longer those will be. The slower we go, the shorter those will be. As we get more money, however, we can buy a tool called a chip log, which we can use to calculate how fast we're moving in knots, and we'll get there when we get there. Let's see here. Yeah, it should be about fine, so we'll go ahead and throw her over to the port. And continue with our tack. Beautiful. And now we can go almost directly at the dock and still have the wind behind us. Well, not behind us, but not necessarily directly in front of us. And we'll go ahead and drop hold of the wheel. Now you may be wondering, the wheel, surely there's a fancy ship name for that, and you'd be correct. It's the helm. Why? I don't know. It just is. But I'll probably still continue saying wheel. I believe the game also calls it a wheel, but I don't know. How is the sun looking? The sun's almost directly solar noon, which essentially means that if we were indeed to get to the port and get our cargo switched out and everything, even though we have good wind to get back to Gold Rock, we may want to spend the night here just so we can do it in the daytime. Granted, sailing in the daytime does mean that we're just a lot of time spent doing nothing, because, well, it's sailing, it's not exactly quick, but, you know. But also, depending on how long it does actually take us to do this last little bit, we may call it here, and save the rest for the next episode. If you're watching on Twitch, we may be switching up games here shortly. But if you're watching on YouTube, if we end up deciding to finish off, then I will see you next week. Because I've been posting these at noon on Friday, EST. So, Currently only one video a week, but hey ho, there might be more eventually, you never know. These are recorded live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dan_GYROS, that's Gyros. And, yeah. So if you want to chat, have fun while we're doing this, while we're recording the video, you're more than welcome to join me, drop me a follow. I'm on the road to 50 followers on Twitch TV before we can get emotes and all that fun stuff. But I've got some exciting things planned for the future. When we start doing the big large ocean voyages, a lot of that stuff will end up being cut from the YouTube video just because it's boring. And I'll need people to help me with navigation. So I'm thinking that I might be able to have people in the chat be like part of like the navigator crew. We might have like inventory, you know, we'll see what we can do with it. It could be fun. But for those of you watching on YouTube, I very much appreciate you. Feel free to drop a like on the video if you're enjoying it. If you've made it this far, you may as well drop a like. Hour and whatever into the video, and you still haven't decided that you like it. I mean, you know, if you're an hour and a half in and you've decided you may not like the video, well, I mean, you know, thank you at least for the watch time. I very much appreciate you. Feel free to drop a subscribe if you like what I'm doing and you want to keep up to date. But also at the same time, I kind of aim to make sleep content for people. Stuff that you throw up when you're ready to go to bed, and you know, just kind of need something chill to put on in the background. So if you have any suggestions for what I can do for the audio specifically, if you're one of the sleepers, then let me know. If the game's too loud, if the music's too loud, the music's not loud enough, if you don't like the sound of my ugly mug, well, maybe don't tell me that, but, you know. If you are going to tell it to me, at least make it kind of nice, but, you know, you don't have to, I guess. But again, if you made it this far in the video, I very much appreciate you. Not that we're ending now, it's just, you know, we're an hour and 10 minutes into the recording, so I figured I may as well let you know. So we've got wind. It's not very strong, which is why the flags are on a downward droop. So for the wind that we do have, we're kind of doing as much as we can do for it. Also, as you can see, the ocean's like glass at the moment. Just nice and flat. We are getting to the point where we may need to do another tack maneuver before we hit the docks. We'll go ahead and do that. Come on, keyboard, don't let me down now. Oh, do we have enough speed to make the turn? Yes, we do. Alright, very nice. Good stuff. We had just enough speed to make the turn. And this is purely because we need to be into the dock at an angle at which we can leave the dock. The luffing of the sails there is never a good sign. It means we're not making as much progress as we would like to be. So we'll just turn a little bit more and see what we can do. Fortunately, that does mean going the wrong direction a little bit, but so goes the ways of the tack. I think now we can go ahead and check her over to port again. Yeet! Yeah, I hear you laughing. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. There we go. And this direction will take us into port very nicely. We're going straight at it a little bit, but that's not necessarily a problem. We are picking up some speed though, so maybe the wind's picked up a little bit. You can see the bow wake there, or the bow wave. And then right before we get to the dock, we need to turn hard to the left, to the port side, so that way we're not just going straight into the dock. It'll make leaving and parking a hell of a lot easier. However, for the moment I do want to do that a little bit more, and we run the risk of going directly into the wind, which we don't want to do. But as we get closer, we can chuck it around. And then, actually what I'm going to do now is we're going to go up to about quartermast. Maybe a little bit more on the sails there. Because with the ways the wind's facing, if we were to pull it around directly to the port side right now, we'd catch too much wind. And we'd speed away from the dock before we'd be able to park it successfully. So we'll go ahead and do this. Get a little bit of a turn here. And then we'll go up here and pull this up all the way. And now, do it a little bit more all the way. Grab that. Jump up here. We want a little bit of this. And then we're gonna shove it away from the dock. There we go. Grab our aft mooring lines. Pop onto the dock here. And tie her off and pull her in. Beautiful. You know, if there was hull damage in the game, probably it's not the best way to do that, but as you can see, the keel is the strongest part of the boat, so it's not the worst thing. Not ideal, but boop. And now we can go ahead and drop off our green tobacco quotation marks. This is the cellar on this island. As you can see, they only have the water bottles and the different types of tiny bottles. And this one is the snake oil. This basically drains your sleep bars so you can go to sleep whenever. And the energy elixir gives you more energy at the cost of some of your food and water. Not really something that we need now, but incredibly useful when you get to the big ocean voyages. So go ahead and grab the tobacco. And then if you hold T on your keyboard, you can go ahead and there we go. T on the keyboard. I was holding R. You can throw the boxes, so you don't have to walk all the way. However, if I were to grab one of the goods boxes here, which is a hell of a lot heavier than the tobacco boxes, and we run up here and we try to throw it at the guy, weight is affected, so it doesn't go as far. So keep that in mind when you're trying to Kobe it in there. Well, there we go, green tobacco. No quotation marks. There we go. So that's one mission complete. And then we've got 2 more boxes of goods to drop off, and I think we'll call the episode after that. And boop, there we go. Goods delivered. And the last thing of goods. Oh, I guess one more thing I should mention before we finish exactly delivering this mission. But if you were to click this in your logbook, you can see exactly the amount of miles. Like it's 39 miles from Gold Rock to Alchemist. And if you really wanted to, you could be like, oh, well, it took me this long to do that, and you could do some math and figure out, you know, how fast you were going. Usually in this boat, the Dow, upwind, we were probably making about 3 or 4 knots in speed, which is right around 7-ish miles an hour, which is math amount of kilometers an hour, but, you know. And then, yeah, we'll go ahead and grab a mission for the return. Well, first, before we do that, we'll go into our log here, see what our reputation's looking like. We're almost at the thing that allows us to get trade missions. So for now, we'll just go ahead and see what we can do. Mail to go to Rock City is looking like our best bet, because I think... Yeah, we've got mail to Gold Rock, and we've got medicine to Gold Rock, so I think we'll... Oh, maybe spices. And he's both the same amount of weight and both the same amount of money, so we'll go ahead and grab some mail, and we'll go ahead and grab the medicine, because I could imagine that medicine is more important than spices. 120 pounds in those little boxes. Sheesh! Could you imagine having to carry one of those and it turns out it's like, what, 40 pounds? Oh. Would not be fun, I'll tell you what. I'll just go ahead and pop the mail down there, and we'll put the medicine boxes in there. But for the moment, everybody, thank you so much for watching on YouTube and Twitch. On the Twitch side, like I said, we're just going to switch things up, so don't go anywhere. On the YouTube side, I appreciate you very much for watching all the way through if you've made it to this point. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It lets me know that you're interested in the videos and want to see more. So, again, massive shout out to Dalton Rutlinger for his contributions to Sailwind and YouTube. I absolutely love his series. The Tea Merchant, he's got the new one out currently, which is the Mail Courier. Fantastic series and just all around good dude from what I can tell. I don't know him personally, but I enjoy his content. He's got some good stories to tell, so. For that, I will, the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to load up the rest of the boxes and then, well, we'll switch things up. And the next time you'll see me is we'll be right almost in this spot. Maybe it'll be a little bit darker, but that'll be it. So, YouTube, signing off. This has been Dan Gyros. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace, peace.